Hi.
Well, hi, Phil. Hi.
Oh, hi,
Hi, Paul.
John. Hey, guess what, John? We have a special guest today.
Spoiler.
Oh, well, you have to announce it at some point. Well, no, we'll just record for a while and people will catch on later.
Hi, Phil.
Hi, Paul.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, are you, John, too?
Yeah. As I was saying before we started up, I think we're all kind of crazy because it's that start of school or just before start of a school rush, crazy shit.
Crazy shit, man. The shit's
Yeah,
going
it's
down.
really.
We're in the shit.
Both my school and Phil's school both start next week.
Oh, so when's your guys' first day of school? Monday?
Day after Labor Day.
Oh,
right?
Tuesday, yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, so my kids, but also we're getting stuff ready at because we work at universities.
Right. Well, my two girls went to school today for the first day of the year, and Elizabeth obviously is an orchestra teacher here in Rapids, so she started as well. So, well, she went back last week, but yeah, it all kicked off today here in Rapid.
Well, you don't wait till after the fair.
Well, yeah, the fair is done. The fair is complete.
The fair in Rapid is a little different than the fair here. Have you ever been to the fair here?
I have not been to the Minnesota Fair, although I did see Weird Al Yankovic was at the fair, right? Is that
he was
true?
there last night.
Yeah.
Sold out
cool.
crowd.
Was it?
Yeah, we can talk about the fair a little bit since I did go this year.
Well, yeah, and we can compare it to what is it again in Rapid? It's the Central States Fair.
The Central States Fair, yeah.
Oh, I
they
a
don't
story
get
there.
The South Dakota State Fair, which is in, as my dad would have said, urine, South Dakota. Like a urine sample.
Well, wait, first let's say, who is Paul? We should talk about who Paul is.
Yeah, we're totally getting ahead of ourselves.
No.
Paul, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure, well, I'm Paul. I'm from a little place called Rapid City. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that. Maybe it's been discussed on this forum before. I'm not sure.
You think? You're listening to Time to Lean, and here's a song, episode 28, with special guest Paul S. from who the hell knows where. Maybe we'll find out in a little bit here. Wrong.
But I'm from Rapid. Originally not from Rapid, as you might tell by my voice. So I grew up just outside London in a place called Essex in the United Kingdom. Yeah, and I've lived in Rapid for 11 years now. I'm now a United States citizen after marrying John's sister.
Yes.
So, yeah.
There's another family connection, but maybe that gets too complicated.
Oh, I mean, that's a rabbit hole I'm not going down. But yeah, so
it'll be in the bonus features.
Yeah, the director's cut. So
the extended dance version.
We could, yeah, and we could have different family members commentate on that. But
oh my god.
But yeah, so I've been here 11 years. Like I say, I grew up in just outside London. I work in the area of law enforcement, specifically criminal investigations. I've done that job for quite some time. Prior to that, I worked in the travel industry, where I got to travel the world and live in lots of different countries, which was pretty cool. So yeah. But here I am. I'm like I say, I'm a US citizen now and living in Rapid and enjoying life.
Living the South Dakota dream.
I really am, John. I really am. And I class this as home now. I've been back to the UK a couple of times, but I class Rapid as my home now. I think of it as home, and whenever I travel and I come back here, this is home now.
I was just reading an article, and usually the people we interview are what I call South Dakota expats, but they're people that have left South Dakota for somewhere else.
Right.
And so, but you are. I was just reading an article about that South Dakota is one of the highest brain drain sorts of states. But anyway, you moved back. So other than your wife, what were some other reasons you might have moved back there for? Or was it just her?
What, to Rapid?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was all about moving for marriage. I mean, don't get me wrong, I visited Rapid a lot prior to doing that, and I liked the place, but I didn't move to Rapid because it was Rapid City. I've since living in Rapid, I've come to love a lot of things about it, but no, my primary reason for moving was for marriage. Yeah.
Well, in Mount Rushmore. Oh no, Waldrop. Waldrop.
Of course.
Wrong.
Hey, are you going to narrate this one, John?
Watch out.
Do you know what it wasn't for? It was not for the quality of restaurants.
I was just about to make a snarky remark
really-
about Rapid City cuisine.
If that's what it was not for, it was not for the quality of restaurants.
Other than Taco John's.
Specifically,
well.
well, I'll put that in the fast food arena, but specifically
Right.
Mexican restaurants, which there's an abundance of, yet none of them are good.
Oh, that's sad.
It is sad.
Sad.
Yeah.
I always South Dakota for me is become a real land of disappointment for restaurants. It really is,
Yeah.
and we've gone to visit family in the Sioux Falls area, the big city, and it's pretty mediocre there too,
Right.
for the most part. Once in a while, it's something decent, but it's not
Right.
amazing. So yeah, I get it.
Now, every now and then, a really good restaurant pops up, but it just doesn't last very long. There's over the years, I've caught wind of some pretty good ones,
Especially a barbecue restaurant,
Right.
which Rapid City cannot seem to support.
No, and I've become a little bit of a barbecue snob the last couple of
That's
years.
on our topic list, actually.
Yeah,
Turns out.
it's something that I've become. Do you know what though? For what it lacks in restaurants, it's really making up with breweries recently.
yeah. The wine, not so much, but
The wine, absolutely not. No, the wine, no.
You like that? You like that wild ass rhubarb wine?
No, it's terrible.
Oh, that's so awful.
It's terrible, Phil.
We're losing all of our
They were gonna
sponsors.
sponsor us next week. Damn it!
But there is this really great craft beer scene popping up around Rapid and
Yeah.
the hills, and there's now 3 or 4 local breweries that are not just good, they're excellent. Like really,
That's great.
Really, really good. And from someone that appreciates craft beer, that compliment doesn't come undeserved.
Well, it's changed so much. I mean, like I probably said on here before, but when I grew up, there was like 3 beers there,
Right.
and they were terrible. And then I came like out here to Minneapolis, and I was like, oh, I guess I do like beer. I didn't know I liked beer, but I didn't like it. The beers they had.
And there's so many craft. I mean, everywhere. Definitely in the Twin Cities, there's tons and tons of breweries here. And I just have to think that it must be taking a toll on the mass market stuff by now.
Oh, for sure.
Because people can only drink so much, right?
Says Two Vespers John.
They try. But how many people are not buying even stuff like Sam Adams or other things that are not Coors Light, but they're also not craft. I mean that all those outfits seem like they would be suffering a little bit.
I think so. I think people are more inclined to try these other beers that are not Coors Light and Budweiser and stuff. And
Screw that. I'm drinking a Hams.
Hams are very refreshing. Hams.
they realize that there's flavor in beer and it's out there and it's so accessible now. You go to any bar downtown in Rapid City now, and for sure they've got something on a tap that's from one of the local breweries.
Yeah.
And that's the best part, is that the local business entrepreneur people are definitely doing well with this, and that's great.
Yeah, they're supporting it, and I think they realize that it's good. It's a good thing all round,
And that, of course, that always carries over to other spirits. Obviously whiskey, which we've talked about, but also even things like cider. There's a lot of craft cider outfits now around, and I'm a fan of cider. And it used to be that you could get like one or two kinds, and they were really super sweet. Like a woodpecker was the one I always remember being able to find around here years and years ago, and it was just really syrupy sweet.
Right.
And the stuff now is nothing like that at all.
Right. Yeah. I mean, growing up in England, cider's very popular. You go to any pub and they have a cider on tap of some description. And it tends to be drier, not like those sweet woodpeckers.
By the way, Paul is a longtime listener, and now he's a guest. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, you have to listen to at least 7 episodes, and then you can be a guest too. Eventually, everyone that listens to us will be a guest. But that isn't. We're not saying we also brought you on because you're interesting. Oh, one thing I was going to ask you before. One thing I was going to ask you before we get to what we're drinking is back when we don't usually get in politics here, but back when Trump got elected, you probably got a lot of crap from across the pond about our president, didn't you?
Well, I try, especially with work, I try not to engage in any kind of political conversations outside of my marriage. That's kind of my that's kind
you're
of
very
my,
good. You're
my
very good at
rule
it.
Now, I especially in any kind of public forums. I watch these people having these political debates on social media, and they're just not very productive, are they?
No,
and
that's an understatement.
I mean, and I've really, especially with how polarized politics is right now, and obviously working for a public official, I just don't get into it with people, Phil, about that stuff.
But
don't get me wrong. I have opinions, I really do. But I try not to share them with people.
I think you're very good at that on social media, and I applaud that. But I guess, but now you would have had if they would have teased you earlier or whatever, you could have had a chance now to kind of zing them back because they got their own Trump. I think that's pretty exciting. Yeah. It's like a mini Trump.
Yeah, Trump's very positive about his appointment. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I listen to the BBC sometimes, and sometimes I can't quite understand what they're saying. But it says something about Boris was going to ask the Queen to order Parliament to wear suspenders.
She approved that.
Sounds reasonable, doesn't it, Phil?
No, I misunderstood something.
Yeah.
So what are you drinking?
What am I drinking today? I have a hazy IPA.
Yeah, hazy.
It's called Juicifer. And it's actually from New Belgium, out of Colorado, New Belgium brewery.
Sure.
IPAs were not something that I was particularly fond of up until about a year ago, when I drank I don't know why I had it, but someone gave me that was New Belgium as well. It was a Juicy Haze IPA, and I just thought it was delicious, and I kind of got a taste for it, and that's kind of my go-to right now. Those juicy, fruity, citrusy.
Well, see, now we just talked about that. We just talked about that the hazy thing in the last episode, which hasn't even started being edited yet.
Oh, really?
So that's really funny. Yeah, we were just talking about that trend. So
yeah, I mean, and I really like it. It's actually not as good as one we have locally. There's a local brewery here, Lost Cabin, which produce fantastic beers, and they have one that in their Woodshop series, which is another hazy IPA, which is great. But yeah, that's kind of my go-to right now, and so that's what I'm drinking. What are you drinking, Phil?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm mostly drinking a Werner's ginger ale, but I do have something on. I'm going to try something different here. I'm taking it up a notch for the show. It's something we've never had on here before. It's Seagram's Escape Bahama Mama, orange and pineapple flavors.
No, are you fucking kidding? Come on.
Well,
Are you really drinking one of those?
we have maybe we talked about wine coolers on the Eric episode, but no. Okay, in my defense, these were left here. These were left here by
I
my one of my sister-in-laws visited, and I thought I had him. I thought, well, I'll try it. So here it goes.
Okay. Oh, that was worth it.
All right.
Bahama Mama indeed.
Oh, I'd love a Bahama. No, I can't say that. All right, so yeah, it's fruity.
Was it fruity? Yeah.
What did they used to call those premium malt beverages?
Well, yeah, they're not even calling them wine coolers anymore. It's just
No.
What is it? What do they call it?
Well, wine coolers never really had wine in them, I don't think, even.
Flavored beer, it says.
They were just some weird bastard beer thing.
Oh, this is
came up
terrible. This is awful.
Yeah.
I was exaggerating earlier a little, but anyway. Oh, I might not finish that one. Anyway,
It's good.
and you, John?
Okay. It'd be really boring.
I should have went
I'm
last.
drinking a Manhattan
Oh, well, what kind of whiskey?
with double rye. I think I've had it on here before, but I don't think I have anything new in the house. So, although I did finally get some more filthy cherries. I
Oh,
talked about those
I don't know if we talked about them, but I tried to make some.
filthy brand
it didn't work.
cocktail cherries.
What makes a cherry filthy?
I don't. Well, apparently they don't have to be refrigerated, so that must tell you something.
Wow.
They are my favorite of the fancy non-maraschino flavor cherries.
They're just like they're soaked in booze, right?
They've got something in them to keep them.
So that's their filthy property, is that they're
Yeah,
so
that's the brand.
And they're unwashed.
Brand name. I think
Okay.
they make probably onions and the little Gibson onions and olives and all that stuff.
Filthy onions.
But they're really good though. They if you've ever heard of this brand called Luxardo, I think it's called, comes in a bright yellow container.
So does John.
They're Italian. They're kind of one of the old, very fancy Manhattan cherries, and they're the thing about them is that they are really they're almost too mushy. There's something weird about it. They have a really rich flavor, but the texture on them is just weird. And these other ones are a little bit like that, but they're a little more tart. They're just a really good cherry.
And also the name, it sounds like something you'd make fun of somebody in Italy.
It's
Is it,
hilarious.
hey, Luxardo. I don't know.
Luxardo, buongiorno. Yeah. Anyway, that's.
Well, I tried to make, so the sister-in-law's left some Phillips vodka also. And so I thought I would try to infuse cherries.
By our local congressman's company.
Yeah, Dean Phillips.
Dean Phillips. Yeah, they make a lot of really. Well, they make some good stuff too, but they make a lot of bottom shelf swill.
Well, but so anyway, so this, I thought I'd put some cherries in there and make some dirty cherries or whatever, filthy, disgusting, mossy.
Filthy infusion.
And I don't know. I don't think it worked. It was, I used dried cherries and they soaked up the vodka really good, but it was a little medicinal.
Did you add any Bahama Mama to that?
You should have.
Imagine the reaction to that. I think that the problem with anything cherry with booze is that it crosses the line over to cough syrup really, really quickly.
Well, I'm saving it for the winter.
So you just really have to be careful with that.
I agree. When I have a fruity flavor in a cocktail, I prefer it to be citrusy for that very reason.
Yes.
I prefer a citrus based cocktail if it's going to have any kind of fruit infusion, because of that very reason.
Yeah, and I've been trying to get out of buying the bright red maraschino cherries. I don't know. There's got to be something in there that will kill you.
Well, like for instance, with an old fashioned, which is
Right.
very very simple flavors, and traditionally cherries are used in there. I prefer a cherry not to be used and just have a slice of orange with an old
I
fashioned.
think orange alone is great in those.
Yeah.
In fact,
way prefer.
yeah, the less is more. I think in an old fashioned.
Agreed.
Yeah, I've had way too many fruit cocktail.
Yeah, especially when they muddle the cherries in the bottom, and it's all you can taste is the cherry.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're supposed to taste the whiskey,
Right.
or if you're in Wisconsin, I guess they use brandy, but that's weird.
They do.
But you're supposed to taste the liquor, and maybe that's for people who don't like the taste of alcohol.
Yeah, or for kids.
Kids, it's not just for adults anymore.
It's like the Roy Rogers, but kind of kicked up a notch.
What's a Roy Rogers?
Oh, you never hung out with a friend's alcoholic parent at the VW? No, this was.
I forget. What is it like the Shirley Temple?
Yeah, it's just Coke.
Okay,
It's like cherry Coke,
Oh yeah.
but it has maraschino cherries in there. So I kind of have a sort of weird nostalgic association with maraschino cherries, so that's fine.
Oh, I like them. Don't get me wrong. I just on a regular basis try not to eat them. Although these fancy cherries are so expensive. Like the Luxardo ones, I think they're like $18 a jar or something like that.
Luxardo.
Crazy.
See, now Phil has just done that voice saying Luxardo. I always thought he edited those voices on top of the thing, but he actually does them in real time. So that's a surprise for me.
No, not always.
It's a superpower.
I don't always. No, that's not me. No, I don't always do that.
Well,
I've been working in more live things lately because then this saves time later. I don't know.
yeah, I always figured you put those voices on top of the podcast. I didn't realize you was actually altering your voice during the recording of the podcast.
I don't usually, but after a couple of Seagram's escapes, Bahama Mamas, I'm all ready.
Anything is possible.
Oh, yeah. I'll slip into my. Well, never mind. I'll slip into something more comfortable. No, I don't know.
So speaking of slipping into things,
I don't need to talk about my colonoscopy.
you want to talk about smoking or colonoscopies?
I think that segues best into Phil's colonoscopy.
Well,
I mean it's a very timely topic.
Oh, I tell you, it's good to get checked, folks.
You can abstain. It's okay.
I just turned 50, so it's one of those things you got to do. I'm not going to go into detail, but I mean, the prepping is the worst.
I get a lot of flack when I compare colonoscopy prep with my mom, who I think has had a million of them or something.
Oh, well, God bless her.
But
does
I
it get
I
easier?
sort of get you're at a dinner party and people don't want to hear about colonoscopy prep.
or maybe even a podcast.
Have you heard? I have a podcast.
See, John's now slipping into voices in the middle too.
Feeling inadequate.
Oh, I like that voice. I think it's going to come back at the end of this episode with a beat.
That's my hipster podcaster voice.
It was a little creepy though. It made me uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were going to touch me inappropriately. All right. Well,
Okay.
speaking of that, let's move on to briskets. No,
Brisket.
the segues are terrible tonight, John.
See, we're all off our game for various reasons.
I have an excuse. I've been fasting.
You do. Paul, you've gotten much more into. Calling it grilling isn't really fair because
You're smoking.
it's such a generic term.
Yeah, in fact, it's not grilling at all. I mean, I have a grill and I have a smoker, which are two separate things. But I've really got into using my smoker quite a bit. Which
I've seen
I
the
love,
pictures.
Hence the barbecue snobbery I've now got.
Well, you can't buy it around there. You might as well figure it
Barbecue
out.
is a great thing to be snobbish about, I think.
Oh, it can be so good.
For sure it is. And it's really, the thing about barbecue is it's so simple. As long as you've got the right equipment, anybody can do it.
It's an egalitarian.
You got to get
culinary
You got to get the
profession.
rub just right, and you got to get the heat right.
You can buy all those rubs, and you can get all the instructions off the internet very, very simply. As long as you buy the right cut of meat, the right rub, and follow the instructions that are out there, you can have some. Guys, I have got a work call that I have to take.
Hi, Paul. This is Ed over here on I-90, and I'm over by Kadoka, and something happened with my vehicle. It completely imploded. Basically, I've entered sort of this other dimension,
Too much Tower John.
and I'm wondering if you could. I think what needs to happen is you need to send like a rope through this little portal thing over there in Murdo, and connect Murdo and Wall and Kadoka, and make this kind of a triangle. And what you have to do is, I need out of here. I'm in another kind of dimension thing. And it's icky. I feel like I'm covered in tar. But okay. Okay. Thanks, Paul.
Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry.
On call, Paul.
Yeah.
Better call Paul.
Kind of
Better call Paul.
Better call Paul. Yes.
I don't know which jurisdiction this is in. You better call Paul. Hey, Paul. I just like to call Paul in the middle of the night. His voice is so soothing, and it helps me get to sleep at night.
I think that's what happens sometimes.
I bet. Well, no, people get lonely out there on the highway, and, well, you're not in the state patrol, I guess, but they do have those cool hats. Anyway.
Yeah. I do.
He's not a Smokey.
Smokey the Bear.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, I watched that recently.
Oh, what was
did?
Smoky the Bear? That's something different.
DJ and the Bear.
Yeah, let's combine Smokey,
Smokey and the Bear.
all three of them.
God.
Now that would be an animated special.
Huh.
Oh, Hanna-Barbera could do it or something.
A sheriff versus Smokey the Bear movie.
A picnic basket? No, that's Yogi.
Oh, Yogi Bear. Yeah. too
Oh,
many
God.
movies.
Yogi Berra.
Boo boo.
Picnic.
This is terrible.
Ooh.
We were talking about
Yes. So smoking. Yeah. I guess my
Talking
point
about
is
smoking.
my point is with smoking is that if you have the right equipment, the right cut of meat, and the right rub, you can churn out barbecue that's much better than you're gonna dream of getting at your local stores around here. That's for sure.
I think that works
it's
for a lot of
very
things.
unusual
Though.
to find really good barbecue.
It's really unusual
Yeah.
to
And it's
get
usually
a
the
good
small
rub.
places that have the smokers out in the parking lot or something like that, which is not that different from what you do at home, probably.
Absolutely. I mean,
In the backyard.
there's so many good. There's so much good information, so many good recipes and theories and methods to smoke different meat now, which is so accessible with the internet. I mean, it's been great. Whether it's a pork shoulder, ribs, different types of beef, chickens.
What about buffalo? Get a buffalo. It's just too. You'd have to. It's not fatty enough, is it?
It's so expensive as well, honestly.
Oh, you can just go get your own in Custer. Just get.
I would caution you against that.
What you do is you go out there and
I do not condone.
Yeah.
just get out of your car and you hit
Yeah.
them up. You hit them upside the head with a 2x4.
And they give you a waiver to sign when you drive in.
Every summer, I don't think I've been here one summer where there hasn't been a video online of somebody approaching one of the buffalo in Custer.
Oh, that drives me crazy.
and something stupid happening.
Yeah, some jackass. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, they have those too, but you can feed you can feed those. Well, what's your favorite cut of meat? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, right now I do. Right now, picanha is my favorite cut of meat. Now, if ever you go to Brazilian steakhouse, that's what they're probably serving you up. It's like beef top sirloin, and you cook it to a medium rare, and you slice it, and it's just wonderful. And I've got a few different rubs that I use with the picanha. I have a really good kind of chili espresso rub that I like to use with it.
Ooh,
Nice.
Yeah, so I'd say the picanha cut of beef is my favorite right now.
you know, a lot of people think that they're burning the forests down there in Brazil for just to make more room for ranching, but actually they're actually smoking the cattle right now as we speak in the Amazon.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's live smoking. Jacama?
picanha with a P.
Picanha.
Like piranha, but
Yeah.
with a CH instead. Picanha.
Okay, and that's a cut of meat also. Interesting, because I think I just had a drink called that. I think did we talk about that in episode 27? I don't know. I'm losing track.
Yeah, I'm losing track too. So, Paul, do you have a dedicated like wood smoker device?
So
right?
yeah, I have a Rectech bull, and it uses wood pellets.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, it's kind of foolproof, really. You buy these. So I buy, rather than trying to figure out what wood is going to work best with what meat, I buy a blended wood, which has hickory, a couple of other woods in it, and some fruit as well. And that kind of works. That kind of works all across the board when you buy a blend. So I can use that wood with any kind of chicken, beef, pork. It just works. And you literally put those wood pellets in the hopper. I set the smoker to the temperature I want. I have probes for the meat, which will tell me what it's at. I can change the temperature on my phone, so it's kind of neat. It's got a few little
Why don't
gadgets.
you have one of those, John?
You know, actually, it's so funny that one of our other guests, Matthew P., also got a device like this, and he says it has Wi-Fi stuff on it.
Yeah, like today, I smoked a pork shoulder. I put a pork shoulder in at 6 o'clock this morning. I was able to control the temperature at work, on my phone. And
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you can do it with an Instapot. Why not with that?
And see where it's at. And, and I came home tonight, and then I pulled the pork and served the girls up pulled pork sandwiches for dinner
I was
tonight.
going to ask you who in your household actually eats this stuff, because I know my
Everybody.
sister doesn't eat.
Well, that's that. See that
She has that
that's-
reputation. She
that's,
cooks lots of food, but does not actually eat.
She does eat. She just doesn't eat certain things. So she eat all the meat that gets smoked. She eats that. So
Really?
Yes. She what she will not eat is the bread, the pasta.
So no carbs.
Yeah. She's. I would say she's kind of got like a keto diet going on.
My stepdaughter and her boyfriend are on that right now too.
Yeah, and I don't think
it's a trendy thing. I think.
And she doesn't adhere to it unless margaritas are on the keto diet. then it's not something that she's adhered
Probably
to.
not.
But
Well, maybe you can make them with chicken broth or something.
But she
Chicken broth margaritas. You've had too much colonoscopy prep.
You know, I should not be drinking a Seagram's Escape on an empty stomach. No, my stomach isn't empty as we speak, but it was until recently.
No, I mean you should have got to eat by now, right, Phil?
No, I've eaten.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a while for it to,
Move on down.
when a Bahama Mama is instant. It's instant pot.
It's yeah. You got instant crap. Yeah.
Oh my God.
We've descended into toilet humor.
So Paul, you've lived in all over the world and Rapid City.
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate. I've been pretty fortunate with that. Yeah.
Well, where are some places where like your top 3 or something?
Well, Cyprus was one of my favorite places. I lived on the Greek side of Cyprus for a couple of years.
That's the best side.
Well, saying that, I also lived in Turkey for a while because there's 30% of the island is occupied by Turkey.
Sure.
And I actually lived in Turkey for 2 years on the Aegean coast, and that is a beautiful place, and the people there are beautiful, and the culture's wonderful, and the food is amazing. So yeah, I don't have anything against Turkey because I love that place. But the Greek side of Cyprus was where I lived, and I was very fond of that. Close to that was Mallorca, one of the Balearic Islands off the coast of Spain.
Cool.
That was one of my favorite places that I stayed, and then potentially, what would I say, number 3? Number 3 probably was Gran Canaria, Canary Island off the coast of North Africa, which is a Spanish-owned island.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had been to that many places. That's really great. Yeah. Or not been there, but actually stayed there for a period of time.
And there were a lot more places amongst them. I mean, they were some of my favorites. It was like 7 or 8 years. I worked for a company called Thomas Cook, which is a big tour operator in the UK. And I just started as being a representative in one of those countries that used to sell tours and take people on excursions and meet them at the airport and
keep wealthy widows company.
Oh, I don't know about. I think you're mixing it up with escort services. But,
well, I don't know. Maybe you escorted someone to the bar.
This is a long time ago. So I did that, but then by the end it was kind of a serious job because I was managing these resorts and negotiating contracts in hotels and such and. Yeah, but it was a great time, and it was definitely very beneficial to me living in all those different cultures and amongst those different people and experiencing all those things. And I lived in a lot of different Greek islands. I lived on mainland Spain for a little while, different Spanish islands, and Turkey was a wonderful experience as well.
Yeah. All right.
That's great to especially get that stuff out of the way, or when you're younger. And seriously, that's the way it works, right?
You can't globetrot as much with kids.
It really prepared me well for a career, in public service and dealing with different cultures, different ways of thinking,
and wealthy widows.
It's been very beneficial to me, over the years, for sure.
I've noticed you saying "sure" a little differently than you used to.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. This is the diluted drive-through accent I now have.
Oh, you have to.
It doesn't.
They won't get your order right if you.
Exactly. I don't. This accent doesn't belong anywhere now, Phil. It belongs somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean because.
Paul's a citizen of the world.
Well, I talk to people back in the UK and they make fun of how I talk, and I talk to people in Rapid City and they make fun of how I talk. So yes. It's kind of it's just a lose-lose situation with that.
An accent with no country.
And the majority of people think I'm Australian, so around here they do anyway.
Oh, sure.
What an insult!
In fact, I've even been mistaken from someone from North Dakota.
Are you shitting me?
So I'll tell you this. Elizabeth and I have been to Deadwood one weekend, and we've been up in Deadwood, and we're travelling back, and we stopped at a gas station somewhere between Rapid and Deadwood, and I've gone into the gas station and bought something, and I just started chatting with the clerk, just being friendly, and we're just kind of chatting, and she turned around to me and she says, so "You're not from round here, are you?" I said, No. She said, "You're from North Dakota, right?" And I didn't quite know how to answer this lady, so I just said, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, sometimes you just nod your head and move along.
And
I'm from North Wales,
but I do use that occasionally since that conversation, because that's quite a while back. Sometimes when people ask me where I'm from, since that conversation, I do tell them that I'm from North Dakota. And they're like, "What? I thought you was Australian."
Yes, in North Dakota they also say "Good day, mate."
Yeah, well,
and you're on the Barbie.
I kind of figure if you mix South Dakota, Rapid City with London, England, you get Australia.
I guess I could kind of, I don't know. Let's just say you could pull off an Australian accent if you worked on it a little bit. And maybe they'll redo Crocodile Dundee pretty soon, and you can get a job on there. I don't know. They'll film it in South Dakota, and
I hope they never remake that movie. It was a terrible movie.
It did not age well.
maybe they'll do a live action movie of it.
It was so bad. It was so
They're remaking
so
everything
bad.
else. Speaking of remakes, let's talk about Disney.
Yes,
I'm on the Segway train today.
I tell you what, that was up there with the let's slip into the colonoscopy segue. That was good.
That
good.
still hurts. That
What, the colonoscopy?
no, slipping into that. The segue hurt. No, the prep and talking about it afterwards are worse than the
I'm
actual
sorry,
procedure.
Let's get away away from Phil's colon health, and let's get back to Disney churning out these live action remakes for lots of money.
I think that's so.
Or Disney World, since you were just there.
Yeah, well, we're big fans of Disney World for sure.
Carousel of Progress is
Super
one of your
fans, I
favorite
would call you.
rides,
Yeah.
and Snitch's Wild Ride. I think you like.
Snitch?
Is that?
Snitch.
Snitch is not a Disney property, I don't think.
Yeah, it was that Kahuna, or no, I don't know. What was the name of that movie? Kahuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata?
The Lion King.
No,
So
there was. Sorry.
So, yeah, we are Elizabeth as well. We are big Disney fans. Big Disney fans. Now, I appreciate that company is a money-making machine, and they churn out some stuff just purely for that purpose. But I will say, vacationing in Walt Disney World brings me and my family a lot of joy. It's a great place.
Well, I can tell you guys love it.
Well, we have
all the
so
pictures and
much, we have
stuff.
so much fun there, and what's happened over the years is that company has acquired these properties that I loved even more than I like Disney. Like, for instance, Star Wars,
Sure.
Yes, the big one.
the big one. So the acquisition of Star Wars with Disney for me was huge because I was always have been, always will be a big Star Wars fan. So for the company to go out and buy Star Wars was great news for me because I knew they would put it in their theme parks. They had to put it in their theme parks.
Oh yeah, the pictures are incredible.
Well, we just got back from it actually opens to the public tomorrow. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. It's already open in California, but the one in Orlando that we visited last week, it opens to the public tomorrow. We had we went to a special preview event because we go there so much.
You're insiders, yeah.
Well, we have annual passes. So basically, if you visit the theme parks more than once a year, it's because of the high cost. It's actually worth getting an annual pass because the cost of two tickets.
Oh yeah.
Two sets of tickets to go is more than what an annual pass would be. And if you have an annual pass, you qualify for a whole bunch of discounts and all that good stuff. So on accommodation and food and sneak previews. So we got to see Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and man, as a Star Wars fan, that place was amazing. Amazing.
What was the best thing in it, do you think?
So the best thing in it, I hear, is not even open yet. So they've got this ride called Rise of the Resistance. That's not open yet, and we didn't get to see that, unfortunately. That won't be open until December. But for me, it wasn't actually. We got to pilot the Millennium Falcon, which was pretty cool. But for me, that wasn't the best part of it. The best part of it was just being in it and seeing how immersive this land they've created is. Because what they didn't make it part of the movies. So they've made it's a planet. So this storytelling says it's a planet called Batuu, and it's Black Spire Outpost, this place at the edge of the galaxy where smugglers and such hang out, and the Resistance have just arrived. So it's got all its own stories, and its own characters, and
Cool.
But it plays out in the Star Wars universe. Like there's a cantina there where you can buy Star Wars themed cocktails, and there's restaurants there that have menu items that are based from the planet you're on. You can buy drinks, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, all from the planet. And there's lots of places like that. There's a marketplace where you can buy merchandise, of course, because Disney needs to make their money. But it's really cool. There's a place where you can go build lightsabers, or you can go build droids, and yeah, it's very, very neat. And as a Star Wars fan, as a theme park fan, it's very, very satisfying to go to something like that and see that, be part of that kind of story. It's really neat, really neat.
Just from the pictures or whatever, it seems like kind of that. I don't know. It seems a little Westworldian to me, or whatever the future world or something. But except Star Wars version. But they don't have robots everywhere. It's people dressed up.
No, they're droids.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, and Disney have what they call their cast members. So the people that work in the lands are given their own stories and backstory. So every person that you come in contact with actually has a backstory.
Oh wow! I wonder if it's like the old role playing days, John, where you can roll your character, your Star Wars character, and maybe they probably don't let you come up with your own name. They wouldn't let me, I'm sure.
No, they know better than that, I think.
What would your Star Wars name be? Junk Tonk Sunk.
Big block blue. You solo. Yeah, you gotta just do this pseudo Jabba the Hutt.
So this place actually had its own language, and they give you, and there's a bunch of, and all the signs are in this language, and they give you a key when you go into the world of this letter is this and this letter is that, and you can decipher it, and you can have an app on your phone which will translate for you. And yeah, it's very immersive. It's and they did a really great job as well with Pandora when they built Pandora over at the Animal Kingdom. Walt Disney did and that movie's not even that great, But what they did was they took a not so great movie and turned it into this amazing world in one of their parks. And they have a ride over there called Flight of Passage, which is one of the most amazing things I've ever ridden. I mean, you feel like you're riding an animal flying through the sky, and you're seeing things and hearing music and feeling things. And the first time we rode it, I got off, I turned to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth was crying. Yeah. I mean, that's how amazing this ride was.
Wow.
That stuff's gotten so sophisticated.
It really has. So one of the reasons we go back time after time is not just for these rides. They have these amazing theme resorts. They have, and like I told you guys, I've worked in the tourism industry for years. They have the best customer service I've ever encountered anywhere in the world. Anywhere. Cool. I mean, it just is the best customer service I've ever experienced. And they now have this emerging food and wine scene with these amazing restaurants and fantastic lounges and great drinks. I mean, they have food and wine festivals. They have Michelin-star restaurants on property. I mean, it's so much more now than just theme parks. I mean, don't get me wrong, we love the theme parks. We love all the movies that are attached. We're big Marvel fans as well, and Star Wars fans.
Yeah, all that's, there's that too.
All that's integrated. So don't get me wrong, there is that side of it. But then you have these immersive themed resorts with the best customer service you're ever going to get anywhere, coupled with all these amazing restaurants and bars and stuff. So it's very difficult. Don't get me wrong, we want to see different places and go to different places, but we get drawn back there because of those things.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Disney has always been really good at these things, I think, but they always seem to be just a step ahead. And they go a little further than the rest of them do. Although you have to admit that that there's enough competition out there to keep them working, really. Because I mean, Universal is obviously their biggest competitor, if there is one. And from what I've heard, they're still really quite good. But Disney just seems to go a little further with these things. And it's not just because they own all the properties. As far as the IP goes, the intellectual property. Yeah, it's partially that, but just their attention to detail, and like you said, they obviously do a little bit more with the customer service and the experience of the whole
Well,
thing.
okay, now wait now.
Seems to be just a little higher.
I went to Disney World when I was like 10 or something. And so this was quite a while ago, and it was different. But even back then, I remember we were on some kind of a train ride in the Wild West or something, and they had all these weird little details. Like there was a rattlesnake on a stump that was like, and not everyone saw that. I don't know. It was just kind of cool that you look around and you might see something that, I guess you'd have to ride the ride more than several times to catch everything. It was pretty cool, even back then. But the food wasn't good. I remember we had some French fries that were terrible.
And I think that's something that has really changed over the years.
Yeah, and that's changed recently. That's a recent change. I would say that's a last 10 years change. I think they've always had restaurants, but they've really upped their food and beverage department, and that's really a big focus, and obviously a big money maker for them. But if it's good, people will pay the money. I mean, I certainly will.
I've been wanting to go see that Animal Kingdom. That sounded cool.
Animal Kingdom is actually our family's favorite park.
Yeah,
that would
probably be mine.
and not for the zoo element, because we're not too keen on that, even though they do a lot of conservation stuff. Because I'm not that keen, but because of the theming in that park and the rides, they have amazing restaurants there. And some really great lounges, and plus they have Pandora there as well. That's probably our favourite park of all of them. But going back to the Universal with the IP thing, so Universal have some great IPs. They have Jurassic Park, they have Harry Potter, for instance.
Yeah, Harry Potter's the
which is a huge
Harry
one.
Potter World or whatever they call it. What's that called?
And they do great. Probably Harry Potter World, I think. but they do great stuff in their parks with their rides and the theming, but they don't have that next level. There's an extra step that Disney has. They, even though the rides are great and they've got some great IPs, it's not quite as good as Disney. And we like going to Universal. Yep. We do. We like to ride the rides and see that stuff. But we'd much rather be in Disney because they have that extra customer service, the better restaurants, the better resorts.
And they part of their strategy, of course. It's like you said, it's the cash register, but they want to keep you
absolutely
in their environment for the longest period of time. So they're going to become the complete solution, if you will.
Well, and I have a funny feeling with that key they gave you into the Star Wars world is I bet they didn't have a price translator, did they?
No, but no, it's in cold hard dollars. Everything.
Oh, I thought maybe they say,
yeah, and there's some good ways to budget for it. Like one of the things we like doing is actually paying for a dining plan, so we're not actually looking at you kind of pay an all inclusive price before you go.
That makes sense.
Which probably isn't as economically advantageous as you'd want it to be,
but you don't have to think about it.
Exactly, because you can actually walk in the park. They give you this thing they call Magic Band, and that will get you on the rides, get you in the park. You can just scan that when you want some food or something to drink,
or a free colonoscopy,
or some prep.
Hey, Phil, we're gonna have colonoscopy.
It's a Song of the South ride. No.
Hey, I think that. So, Paul, I assume Song of the South is still represented on the log ride, right?
Yeah, Splash Mountain.
Yeah,
Splash Mountain, and Song of the South, the movie
it does live on.
The Disney.
I'm glad it's still there. I mean, it's terrible, but
that ride is wonderful, though. I mean,
I do remember that being great.
Uncle Remus is not mentioned in that ride.
Yeah,
or the Tar Baby.
Oh no,
God!
It's nearly as bad as Holiday Inn.
Oh yeah, no, yes. Which somebody in my family
just
on
posted
Facebook
about
recently.
Did they? Okay, I think they did. I think
somebody,
I saw that. Yeah.
Megan did. I don't know why, but
I saw
Holiday
that.
Inn.
Well, it's the Knowles' favorite family Christmas holiday movie, but it has
Yeah.
You know,
It's every holiday.
The infamous scene in it that
Oh, the blackface number. Yeah,
that prevents it from being because if that scene wasn't in that movie, that would be on all the networks all the time.
Well, apparently, that whole area thing is cut when it's shown on TV.
I've never seen it on TV. Has it ever been on TV?
Well, maybe
They have a colorized
I've
version.
Heard that.
Talking of movies, here's my segue now. I'm segueing.
Hey, I like
Good,
that.
good.
While we're on the subject of
It
movies,
was better than mine.
I saw a movie recently.
Speaking
and
of rubs, I had a rub recently. Oh, no, sorry.
I subscribe to the AMC A list, so I go to the movie theater quite a lot. So because I love movies, I like to watch a lot of movies. But I saw a movie recently, and I'm wondering if any of you guys have seen it. That I just can't stop thinking about, which was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I
Oh.
did see it actually.
Did you? Okay, you guys talk about
Yeah,
it. I
yeah,
haven't
I'm-
seen it yet.
We one of the places near us ran it in 35 millimeter, which for that particular movie I thought was really worth seeking out, since it was shot on film and Tarantino is a big analog kind of guy, and
Right.
all that. But I generally really liked it. I kind of don't want to get into the ending of it.
No, you
because
can't.
Phil hasn't seen it.
No, you
But-
can't. You can't. No.
It might be my second favorite of his films that I have seen.
Here's something I'm going to tell you, John. I went back and watched in the last couple of weeks after watching that because I enjoyed it so much.
Right.
I went back, I watched Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, and Inglourious Bastards, which were my top 3 Tarantino movies prior to that.
Sure.
And I place it as number 2 now.
Wow.
Yeah,
What was
place it as
number
I
one?
can believe that. I think it was for whatever reason it didn't go to some of the eye rolling extreme things that he likes to do in his movies, and it I
Was
thought
more
the
restrained?
performances were great. It is, believe it or not, it is a little bit more restrained.
Well, yeah.
It's kind of this.
It's like a hangout movie.
It is, and the people, the two leads, Leonardo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt are just so fun.
And
to be
Luxardo.
with, and Luxardo DiCaprio. and the thing is, it's not just that, but also that it's a little bit like a Disney park in that the attention to detail is so good.
It's great.
That early 1970s
Well,
vibe.
late
It
60s.
looks
late,
really
late,
right.
Yeah, late 60s, set in 1969.
Well, maybe they
Right.
should let him have a shot at Star Trek then, after all.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Not Star Wars.
He shouldn't. No, he shouldn't do that. Should he? I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't think. He should do
You know
Star
what?
Trek.
I haven't watched any of his movies for a while because I was getting a little tired of his. I don't know, any of those directors that have a very particular style that I really loved for a while. For some reason, even Wes Anderson.
It's easy. He's easy to get tired of, I think, and he's gotten into this kind of alternate fantasy history thing. He obviously started with is it Django Unchained? Is that the
Yeah. Django and
that one
Django
and Inglourious
Unchained
Bastards
was-
are similar in that way.
Right.
started it.
And Inglourious Bastards was far superior than Django.
Oh, I think so
Unchained.
too. Yeah.
Far superior. And the Hateful Eight was not good. I didn't think.
Yeah, and I haven't even seen that yet because I
Don't.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything good about it. It just sounded unpleasant.
It's just. I've got nothing positive to say about it. But see, and I really am a big fan of those movies that I rewatched. I actually kind of like Jackie Brown and as well.
Sure. I'm embarrassed to say I have not seen Jackie Brown and people say that's really good too.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that well received as some of his other stuff, but I liked it. But like I said, I went back and I watched those other movies. And for me, I'm not sure, was your number one Pulp Fiction, John?
Oh, if I had to say, it's been years since I've seen it, so
Yeah,
probably.
And I rewatched it, and it still is mine. It's still, especially when you consider what he was doing at that time.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, that movie must be 20 years old at this point.
Yeah, right.
Kind of timeless.
That's good. I'm glad you brought that one up because that is one of the few theatrical movies I've seen recently, and I'm really glad I saw it in the theater also because it just it's so visually interesting
and audibly interesting. I mean, the music in that thing is great. Like Neil Diamond's Brother Loves Traveling Salvation show has never sounded so good. And they've got these they've got these other tracks going on, like that Los Bravos track. When Brad Pitt is driving, which was amazing, and another thing about that movie, the look of it. So that scene at the Spawn Ranch where Brad Pitt is, I mean, that thing looks like a horror movie at that point.
Oh yeah, you're kind of on edge the whole sequence because you don't know how it's gonna something is gonna blow up there,
Right, and it's just
right.
the whole thing, and like I say, I haven't stopped thinking about that movie, which is a great sign of a movie. You come away and you're still thinking about it, and I can't wait to watch it again. And the stupid AMC here has dumped it already because I wanted to go back last weekend to see it for a second time.
Oh, so of course,
I have the AMC A-list thing, so I go to the movies quite a bit. And sure enough, it's not there, and there's a bunch of garbage on that I don't want to watch. And,
and that's why I went and tried to see it right away because they had it in their biggest theater, showing it on actual film, which was really fun.
Which theater did you go to?
Oh, it was that Willow Creek one where I saw 2001 and 70
Sure.
millimeter and all that stuff. And yeah, they're kind of unusual that way. But
do you have a good choice of movie theaters where you are, John?
yeah, I think ours are really good. The one I was talking about, it's still a multiplex, and they have the recliner seats and all that, but they really have a lot of interesting stuff. And they also don't show a lot of ads, which I like. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine.
Right.
Is I don't love sitting through a lot of ads I could be seeing on TV.
Yes.
Well, the other thing too,
that,
the things they keep adding to try to make it more comfortable, like there's the chairs and they're vibrating, and you can.
I knew you were going to bring up the vibrating butt seats.
you can get a woman to sit next to you and hold your hand in the scary parts, and it's just kind of weird. I just think they're getting too. It's just getting too. It's too much.
You're missing out there in South Dakota.
I'm sure Paul could arrange that if he goes to a scary movie. Well, you get scared. You want somebody to hold your hand. It's nothing. Sick about it.
So, Paul, I'll throw out a quick recommendation also that it's not new at all. And Phil, I mentioned that I'd seen this, but I recently, for the first time, saw the movie The Straight Story. Yeah. You guys heard of that?
I have not heard of that.
So, Paul, go look it up sometime.
Speaking of directors that had a signature style that did something different, it was like
exactly
David Lynch.
This is David Lynch, and it came out. Is it 1999? I think.
Twin Peaks, David Lynch.
Yeah, same guy, and it's this. But it was released by the Disney studio.
Oh, I'd love to. They should have a Straight Story ride, John. You could ride a lawnmower for 3 days.
So it's rated G.
And it's nothing like a normal David Lynch movie, except that it's a little quirky, but
yeah, it's this. And I had never seen it. I had heard it was good, but it did not disappoint. And
I was surprised you hadn't seen it. I saw it when it came out, and that was one of those movies that I think I saw more than once.
So, what's the name again, John?
The Straight Story.
The Straight
I think it's
Story,
on iTunes and those services.
Well, just have to check it out.
Yeah,
it's really different.
I really liked
it's not like any of his other movies.
It's about this old farmer guy who lives in Iowa, and he needs to go visit his dying brother in Wisconsin, and he can't drive anymore, so he rides his riding lawnmower all the way there.
And it's actually based on a true story.
Yeah, it totally is. And apparently the actor's name is Richard Farnsworth, who was in a lot of old Hollywood stuff.
He was a stuntman, I think, wasn't he?
He was actually kind of dying at the time they made the film too.
Yeah.
He died shortly after it came out, but it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. And just because it's not a goofy movie. So it's just one of these weird things that at the time Disney just picked up, I think, to distribute,
right.
But it's got their name on it, which usually you don't see associated, but it's just really pretty good natured and very well done.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, check it out sometime.
It's not fast paced or anything. It's just
just like the mode of transport.
Right. The movie is 3 days long.
And the other thing I caught recently, which I hadn't seen in a while, but is an old favorite of mine, is the original Blues Brothers.
Oh, it's so
yeah.
good. It's
You
so
know,
good.
I mean, yeah, I
I've
don't
been wanting
need
to rewatch that for years.
tell you about that. But a musician friend of mine here had never seen it.
What?
He was over one night. Yeah, I don't know how he escaped it, but it was so funny to watch it with him because we'd be going along and like, oh, I can't believe that person's in it or that person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the musicians.
It's one of my all-time favorites, and it's this interesting combination of overly budgeted SNL movie along with just this love letter to classic R&B artists.
Absolutely, it's a wonderful
it's
movie. John Landis really nailed it, and John Landis is a great movie maker. So one of my favorite movies is a John Landis movie, which is not the Blues Brothers, which I love, which is American Wealth in London.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, I totally.
I
I
remember that one.
love that movie.
I don't think the Blues Brothers is. I personally love it, but it's not. You know,
No.
you can probably, as a movie, pick lots of holes in it.
Completely. But it's so
Oh,
fun.
it's so
and
much fun.
It sounds great, and it's
yeah,
just,
and the music is
yeah.
priceless.
Yeah, it's so fun. I really love that movie.
Yeah.
And like I say, John Landis made American Wealth in London, which I have a huge soft spot for, and you know, Trading Places was good as well, which
that's
he
right.
made.
I forgot he did that. Yeah,
You know, he did some good stuff. He really did.
right. So those are things I saw recently that were really fun.
Yeah, and I guess in the last 12 months, I think the most fun I had at the movie theater, however, and this is kind of mainstream. This is not, you know, was the Avengers Endgame movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
that was fun.
I think we've all seen that. Yeah.
For somebody that had watched all those Marvel movies leading up to it.
Yeah, that was a long-term thing.
It was such a payoff, though. I mean, that was such a payoff, that movie, the way they did it. I mean, that's a 3-hour movie, and it does not feel like it's a 3-hour movie.
No.
It was very, very, very well done, and that's the most fun I've had at the movie theater for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's good, and the whole thing is like a giant mini series.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, they did such a great job tying it all in, and that really pays off when you've seen them like that. And
But you see what they did now, though, to grab more money is that they've got all these TV shows on Disney Plus.
it's the whole Disney streaming service and all these
so
things. And
yeah, that comes out in November. And
it's going to be
so-
really interesting when that market gets even bigger, especially with Apple and
right.
Warner, AT&T, and all that stuff's going to just. People aren't going to have enough time to watch it all. Of course, if you're
Disney
working
are
in that,
using a new model, though. They're going to not do the Netflix binge model. They're going to be releasing an episode per week.
yeah, definitely, because I noticed HBO is kind of stuck with that too, which that's okay. I don't think everything should be dumped all at once, kind of thing.
I kind of prefer it in some ways. I kind of prefer it. So I mean, I'm excited for some of the stuff that they'll put out on that channel, like The Mandalorian, the Star Wars show. I don't know if you've seen the previews for that.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Looks really
cool. It's got to be an amazing time to be in that business.
Yeah.
Is there a saturation point though? Because I thought
Yeah.
I thought with the superhero movies there'd be a saturation point by now, but it doesn't seem like it. They just keep making more and more.
Because they're doing them well. I think the saturation point is the DC movies that have been released that have not been done so well.
Yeah, we did the other night or last weekend. We did watch Shazam.
Oh, that's fun though, right?
Which we actually, I actually really had a good time watching that.
Yeah, that's fun.
It definitely was one of the few. I mean, because I think we watched. What's the Avengers equivalent? The Justice League? Or
Oh yeah, it wasn't good.
oh, that was awful. Yeah,
It wasn't good.
I mean, Wonder Woman is the only really good.
Wonder
one
Woman was
besides
pretty good.
Shazam, maybe.
Yeah, we enjoyed Wonder Woman. I thought that. I thought they did a nice job with Wonder Woman, but that whole franchise really hasn't worked so far.
No, it's pretty much tanked. I think so. That
Yeah,
they'll there's enough money at stake, and they'll figure it out. But
Well, I
but
always
it
liked
just
the old
tells you
Batman
how well
movies.
how well Disney and those guys did, though.
Yeah.
If it's good, I'll watch it. I'm not pretentious where I will be. I'm not watching this because it's too mainstream. If it's good and I like it, I'll watch it. But if it's garbage, like some of those DC,
quality's quality, right?
yeah, and if it's garbage like some of that DC stuff is, then good. And on the superhero thing, I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but that animated Spider-Man movie that came out last year.
Infinity something or
No, it was the Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Spider-Verse.
Right.
Yeah.
That
Everybody's. I
haven't seen it yet.
I'm meaning to watch it, but
My family went to that without me.
That's like the best animated movie I've seen in the last, I don't know how many years.
I'll have to see it on my own.
It's
Well, no, maybe I
pretty-
could get
it's-
somebody to sit next to me and hold my hand in the scary part.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I would recommend anyone, if you
I've
like
heard,
animation
yeah.
or not, is to watch that thing. That's pretty innovative.
Now,
and
my family did go to Spider-Man. That was a recent movie. The most recent movie we've seen together was Spider-Man Far From Home. And
yeah,
I really enjoyed it. But, the ending or endings, I won't say what happened, but I don't know. I was, I don't want to say angry, but just kind of, I was not, I enjoyed the movie, but the ending was like, what the fuck?
yeah. I'm
I don't know.
I'm surprised they did that. That movie had to do a lot of heavy lifting after Endgame.
Yeah.
Because of what had happened in Endgame, and they had to deal with, the death of Tony Stark and all that kind of stuff. I think they did a pretty nice job with keeping that light-hearted and still like a high school buddy movie.
Yeah? It was really good.
And I think they did a nice job with that. But I don't know, with that ending, I don't know what they're going to do because Sony and Disney are arguing over dollars right now, so they may not even make any more of them. Because
it's a
Sony's
period
still
of
owning
transition,
them.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so who knows?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, they had a good run.
They had a good run.
I don't know how they're gonna stay going, but
I guess I've talked about this too, but my favorite Marvel movies tend to be the ones that are more, like Star-Lord, and I know that's not the name of the movie, but I can never. Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok or Fraggle Rock or whatever it was. Thor, that was so funny. That was like the funniest movie I've seen since the Blues Brothers.
Taika Waititi, I'm probably butchering his name. Is it Taika Waititi or Waikiki?
the Kiwi director,
the Kiwi director, who's also responsible for
What We Do in
When
the
We're in the
Shadows.
Shadows. Yeah,
which is great.
And I think he brought so much to that movie. I thought it was so funny.
I was just laughing out loud
it was
really
great.
hard, and I don't do that at movies very often. Well, then they had a Mark's Mother's Boss soundtrack. It was really good too, and because from Devo, I was a big fan of that when I was a kid.
Yeah, Mother's Day.
What kind of? I mean, we should probably wrap this up pretty soon because you've got important criminal investigation on-call things and briskets to rub.
I'm getting dirty looks also.
Oh, you are? Yeah, throw some
She
filthy.
knows better than to say anything. No,
give her a filthy cherry. No, but
I'll give her a filthy cherry.
You shouldn't have said that out loud, John. See,
Who said that?
I get John in trouble. Well, I was just gonna say, what was the kind of music you grew up on, or whatever, or listening to? Morrissey, I'm sure, and
Morrissey.
Well, I discovered Morrissey and the Smiths later on, and I actually still listen to Morrissey and the Smiths.
Sure, that's all right.
But no, not in my house. In my house, that was not playing. So
Right.
my parents' music of choice, there was a lot of Neil Diamond going on. There was a lot of Neil Diamond in my house, and I'll admit I'm still a fan to this day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of Neil Diamond. There was a lot of Beatles in the house. My dad.
You still have a lot of Beatles.
You should have some pest control.
Yes. The ABBA was playing in the house.
Yeah.
That was playing quite a bit, but
Yeah.
but for me, going back, when you're a kid, I think you like whatever music. Well, I certainly did. I liked whatever music was cool at the time and what my friends were listening to, which is kind of, which is not great. So we went through the dance music phase, and we went through the Guns N' Roses thing, and we went through so we went through a few different phases, but I don't really recall being really into any one particular thing one band that I particularly liked growing up that my friends didn't, which made me a little bit different, was Depeche Mode.
Sure.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I always had kind of I really liked Depeche Mode growing up, and that was the one thing I think I liked musically that my friends weren't into, was Depeche Mode, and actually even today that popped up on their Violator album is still on my phone, so that popped up on my random
that's a great one actually
shuffle as I was driving today. So yeah, and they're still making music. It's not as good. But I mean, that band's they're still making music to this day.
Can't stop the music.
No.
That's right.
No, we must keep going. Well, ABBA, didn't they release an album recently or something too? No?
I've no idea.
Wasn't ABBA going to do something? John, do you know?
I think they're just cashing their Mamma Mia royalty checks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they were going to do another musical based on a different song.
On the 80s, yeah.
What would be it?
Do you know who I am listening to recently, and I would really recommend if you haven't listened to them, is Jason Isbell.
Oh,
okay.
I've heard.
So it's Americana.
I love
music.
Americana. Sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've heard him.
So I would really recommend that. That's kind of my jam right now is Jason Isbell.
On the current here, I don't know, 89.3 or whatever, 7. They have an Americana show every Sunday morning, and so I listen to that, when I'm making breakfast before the rest of the family gets up and have some coffee, and so I like that once a week at least.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've heard Jason Isbell at some point. I know the name.
Check him out. He's got a couple of really great solo albums. There's a couple of albums that he did with the 400 unit, I think they're called. But yeah, really good. That's what I'm listening to right now a lot is Jason Isbell.
Another thing you like to do is go to concerts at the Red Rocks or something. It seems like. How many times have you been down there?
Oh, we've been there a few times. Not as much as we like. I think Elizabeth and I's favourite concert that we've seen at Red Rocks was probably Alabama Shakes.
Sure.
That was a cool show. That Brittany, the lead gal in that band.
Yeah.
She is a rock star.
Yeah.
She is a rock star. She is
definitely
pretty awesome.
Well, all right, fine.
Well, you're pretty awesome too.
There.
Why? Thank you, dear brother-in-law.
Now, go rub something, and we'll catch you later.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thanks for being. Thanks for being had, and thanks for being a listener.
Here's the song.
Have you heard the tale of Crocodile Paul? The most interesting thing this side of wall. Everyone knows that Rabbit is a safer place when they see the determined look on his determined face. The ladies love his accent, but they get it misplaced. Wherever he's from, we all know he's on the case. Have you heard the tale of Crocodile Paul? The most interesting things this side of wall. When they see him coming, they say, "Good day, mate." Well, they think he's from a different state. But North Dakota seems hard to take. He just nods and he chews on a rattlesnake. Have you heard the tale of Crocodile Paul? The most interesting thing this side of wall.
Got a B&E on an EPB for GT and OVC. I got an EDP and a DOA. What's the DOB of that old DA? Sometimes I think they've got an HUA. AKA NFA. TDA is okay.
Rapid City ain't no Disney World, but despite it all, they keep their flags unfurled. 4 presidents in granite and statues line the streets. Those streets are protected with people like Paul on the beat. Have you heard the tale of Crocodile Paul? The most interesting thing this side of wall.
If you have the right equipment, the right cut of meat, and the right rub,
Have you heard? I have a podcast.